So it is all kicking off, my friends, as it always seems to do in professional wrestling, but according to the PWI, Ricochet has given notice to the WWE, and come the summer when his contract does expires, he is out of there. Now, straight away, everyone on the internet has gone nuts, because people on the internet love to go nuts, and they're all saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe Ricochet would do this to us. So we're just going to start here. Listen, you're allowed to think whatever you want. You're allowed to have whatever opinion you want. But if you are personally slighted when a human being makes a job choice or decides to leave one employer and go to the next, I just find it a little bit weird. There should never be any real loyalty when it does come to your job. We have seen it time and time again. The business will always screw you over, no matter what your industry is, so you should always be protecting yourself as well. Also, in terms of tenure, or in terms of giving something to a company, Ricochet has been there for what, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years, if not longer. It could be over a decade at this stage. I'm probably exaggerating. In fact, I definitely am exaggerating at 10 years. So if his contract is coming due and he's been offering money all over the place, he absolutely should go out there and see what's on offer. Because if you don't do that, you're absolutely crazy. So I just wanted to get that bit out of the way to begin with. You should have real problems in your life that you're not mad at Ricochet, but ultimately I kind of do feel where he is coming from, because if we do go through the last few years of his WWE experiences, he's always been a featured guy, and I think a huge reason for that is just because he's so damn talented. So even if you don't know his character or you don't know anything about the guy, if you just randomly turn on a Raw and SmackDown and you see him flipping and whipping all over the place, you're instantly going to go, this is clearly talented, one talented individual. And when you do talk to people like a Will Ospreay or a Pac or people like that, a lot of them do say that Ricochet was their inspiration in many ways, or their hero. They saw what he was doing and they would go, man, well, I'd love to do that. And in fact, Will Ospreay went on that rant a few weeks ago, whenever it was, when there were rumors about Ricochet's contract, when he essentially said, I think I'm paraphrasing him, exaggerating, but his point was WWE is not using this man the right way. He is the best. He is number one. And if he does want to sort of leave and spread his wing again, I, for one, will be waiting on the other side. Now, there have been some murmurings that maybe that did hit a chord with Ricochet, and it all depends on what he wants, because we don't have to worry about finances. We just don't. If he stays with WWE, he's going to get loads of money. And if he goes to, let's say, an AEW, he's most definitely going to get loads of money. And this is really important. This is the best thing about competition. Wrestlers put their asses on the line all of the time, and the more money they can get, the better. It's why in the Wrestling Observer newsletter this week too, I think they talked about the fact that Chad Gable is also going to get a bunch of offers from all over the places, because his contract is coming up as well. And good. Again, these people are putting their lives on the line in many ways. And while there are sort of some top tier individuals that are getting paid a lot of money, when you actually get into the nitty gritty and the margins and the percentages and the gross profits, they should be earning even more. So wherever Ricochet goes, I hope he can swing in money like Scrooge McDuck. But of course, there are personal things that we can discuss as well. I don't want to get too deep into this because I don't think it's my place. But yes, he is currently, I think, engaged to Samantha Irvin, who of course is a Raw ring announcer. Very good, by the way, as we are here. And you know, I'm sure that would be a positive reason to stay with WWE, because it's going to make the travel so much easier. But given that he is sort of mid-30s, I would imagine that Ricochet is, he's also probably looking at his career and going, well, it's now or never. What exactly do I want to leave in professional wrestling? Like, when people think about me, what do I want them to think? And if we talk about his style of wrestling, which again was a huge door opener for what we do have today, you have to imagine that, especially in a company like WWE, where personality and promos and everything like that also need to be brought into the mix, he has probably hit his ceiling. Now, there's nothing wrong with hitting your ceiling. I'm pretty sure if he was given more, what's the word I'm looking for, freedom, maybe he'd be able to sort of break through that ceiling. But he still got to WWE. He still had an amazing career. He still won a bunch of championships. He's been on WrestleManias. He is a success. Even if he decides to go lay down for the rest of his life, he has been a massive success, and he was a success before this as well. But if we do take WWE as the number one company in the world, which they are, the first time you take a bump or the first time you take a fall in training, if the end of your journey or part of your journey is getting signed by WWE, even if you get signed and do absolutely nothing, I don't care, man. You are a success. I think that is a phenomenal feat to achieve. But of course, people that want to hit the tippity top, that's never enough, and the money's never enough. And it comes down to passion, it comes down to creativity, and once again, it depends on the legacy that you want to leave. And I can only imagine, I'm speculating here, I don't know Ricochet, although he seems like a lovely guy, that he's looked at the current landscape and he's gone, well, if I do go somewhere like AEW, where you can essentially do whatever you want when it comes to the in-ring product, who knows where that would lead? Now, I'm sure he could be AEW World Champion, he could be a TNT champion, he could be whatever kind of champion that you want, but without wanting to be too disrespectful here, the belt is just a prop, but as many people have always said, it's the person that makes the title, not the title that makes the person. I mean, sometimes it's the other way around, but usually you need to bring your star power to it. I think Roman Reigns is a great example of that. People used to laugh at the Universal Championship, but he shifted those gears. But it comes down to the kind of matches that he may be able to have and the kind of message he may be able to send people, which is, oh yeah, I forgot, Ricochet, you are quite literally one of the best wrestlers in the world. And actually, when people would write their current top 5, top 10 lists, maybe he wouldn't get into all of them. If he deep down in his Tootsie Toes believes that he should be in that conversation, then the best thing to do is leave the WWE bubble, which does have a very specific style, which I love, by the way. I'm a huge fan of WWE programming, but there is more, here comes that word again, freedom in other companies out there. And if he does go to AEW, which I have to believe is going to be his destination, and we get that match with Will Ospreay again, there is just no way it's not going to be one of the most incredible things that we've ever seen. Now, it doesn't have to be to your taste, and you don't have to like it, but in terms of what those two will go in that ring to do, and what they hope to achieve, they will absolutely smash it, because Will Ospreay has come out again and verbalized this, and Ricochet will be desperate once more to remind people, this is who I am, damn it. Go back to my PWG stuff, go back to the stuff I was doing in Japan. I was breaking physics, which he was. There's one flip that he did, probably like a double 470 rotating nonsense nun head. I don't know what the hell you would call it. And no matter how many times I see it, and it comes up on social media all the time, because it's one of those things you do just want to gif and send around. It's like a meme, I suppose. I just like, how? How did you do this? Like, where did it come from? Where did it go? Where did it come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Are they the lyrics? I have no idea. And he has done a lot of that stuff in WWE as well. Let's not forget when he was in NXT and on the main roster, he did that thing where he flips over the ropes and lands on his feet to yell at someone. I mean, that's another thing. I just watch it and go, what kind of human being are you? But I just think from a fan point of view, this is very, very exciting, because when somebody does jump ship, it's something that we lacked for 20 years once WCW closed down. And it was still cool when people went to TNA, but I think it's fair to say that in terms of the financial draw and the popularity of a company, AEW is ahead of where TNA was even back in 2005, 2006. I mean, I could be wrong, and you can go, oh, but Simon, Impact did this. Yes, but I think you have to look at it on the current scale, and TV numbers back then can still be worse than TV numbers now, even though less people are watching. I don't want to get into ratings. I don't care. What I am saying is that right now in 2024, it is a different ballpark, right? It's a different ball game, and it does open these kind of doors, which is why I'm so excited about Ricochet doing it. And I don't know when his contract does come up, but if you could do something at Forbidden Door and maybe do a little bit of a Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I think that would be absolutely terrific. But again, it's exciting for me, because even if Ricochet stays in WWE, I'd love it if he had a feud with anybody there, because they have top tier talent. But now all of a sudden I can go, oh my gosh, Will Ospreay, oh my gosh, Pat, Kenny Omega when he comes back, there's Okada. Those two probably want to go together. Maybe he does something with Chris Jericho, maybe he does something with Roderick Strong, maybe he does something with Kyle O'Reilly, right? Maybe he does something with Swerve. Oh man, Swerve versus Ricochet would be absolutely fantastic. And once again, I'm just looking at it from a fan's point of view. I haven't seen those matches for years because they weren't on the table. I don't think Swerve and Ricochet ever tore it up together when Swerve was in WWE, or any of the guys that I've mentioned. Even a John Moxley, I can't remember that. So it gets me talking. And I'm also intrigued to see what it does, the effect that it does have on AEW, because they do need something at the moment. I think most of us would hold our hands up and admit that some kind of kick up the tuchus would be appreciated. And while you can go, well, Ricochet isn't of that level, yeah, but you don't know what kind of interest it's going to draw. Maybe he does have this fan base that is just so intrigued to see what he would do outside of WWE that they do jump across and they do watch a Dynamite or a Collision. They like what they see and they just hang around, which again is what we want, because it means more money, it means more opportunities for wrestlers, which is the most important thing as far as I'm concerned. But once more, if we just talk about it from a nerd point of view, this is way more fun than him staying in WWE. When's he going to leave? When's he going to turn up? Who's his first feud going to be? Whereas, of course, if he stays within the WWE ecosystem, which he still may do, you never know. Maybe they offer him an offer that's too good to refuse, but we still know the kind of people he's going to be working with, and we still know the kind of things he's going to be doing, like becoming the Speed Champion, which I actually think is what set Will Ospreay off. He's like, oh my gosh, you're putting this guy in 3-minute matches when he can do all these amazing things. And I don't think it was the worst thing in the world, but I always thought we could do more with Ricochet. That was always my gut. That was always my tum-tum. But I don't mind that speed stuff either. I think it's quite smart when it does come to Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it now. The attention span on there is quite low. So if you can say, oh my gosh, this thing is only going to go 3 minutes, and you get two guys that can go absolutely crazy, and Ricochet falls into that bracket, I can imagine the so-called casual fan being like, well, I'm going to hang around and watch this. But right now, as I'm talking on the 9th of June, it does appear that Ricochet Ricochet is going to leave, and maybe he doesn't go to AEW, maybe he goes to a New Japan, maybe TNA throw a bunch of money his way. But if you put a gun to my head, first is always be like, what are you doing, man? I talk about wrestling all the time. You don't have to threaten me with a weapon, but I think he's going to go to AEW. I think he will do a program with Will Ospreay, and I tell you, when you're done with that, do the tag team. I mean it. I'm serious. I want to see Will Ospreay and Ricochet taking on the Young Bucks. I want to see them taking on the Acclaim. I want to see them taking on the Undisputed Kingdom and a bunch of other people I will not be thinking of right now. Top Flight, for example. Will Ospreay and Ricochet versus Top Flight would probably blow my brain to such a degree I would have to retire from life for about a week. And if you talk to me, I'd just go because my brain would be absolute mush. So I'm very pumped about this, and I always like to look at the human element of professional wrestling because I am a guy and I do deserve to be punched in the face. And good for him, man. He's betting on himself. Once again, I'm sure he's going to make a bunch of money, but I would also imagine there's something in his head where he's like, I have to remind people who I am before I reach 40, whatever. I mean, 40 in pro wrestling isn't that old anymore, but given that he has a crazy style, I'm sure eventually his body is going to start rebelling against him, because doing a 630 cannot be easy when you're 79 years old. But again, try not to be too crazy with this. I don't think it's a problem, or it shouldn't be a problem in your own life. And Ricochet has been loyal to WWE. He's given them some best years, and they've been loyal to him too. They've kept him around and paid him a bunch of money. It's a job. That's how it works. And maybe he thinks he's of the level he can main event at WrestleMania. And I wouldn't say that he's not by any stretch of the imagination. And again, if you're going to be someone that goes, oh, he could never get there, that's what people said about Cody Rhodes in 2016. So while it's of a different level, because of course it doesn't have the what's the word I'm looking for? The legendary status of a WrestleMania. If all of a sudden he is on top of a double or nothing card or an all-in card at Wembley Stadium, an all-out card, and he is in the final match competing for that AEW World Championship, I won't look at it and go, Ricochet feels out of place. I'll be like, oh my gosh, this is so damn cool. And because he has been put in that position, he's probably going to go even crazier than he has done recently, and that excites me too. I mean, a good bit of homework to do today if you're not familiar with him, which again is totally fine. I can't stand that gatekeeping either. You don't have to know every single professional wrestler and what they have done, but just go Google the stuff that got him signed with WWE to begin with. You can even check out his stuff in WCPW. Go and watch his match with Will Ospreay when the top rope broke. That's right. I think it was in the World Cup that WCPW did, but I can't remember. The top rope broke, or one of the ropes breaks, and they still figure out what to do. So they had to have changed their match on the fly, because no way they weren't incorporating moves that use the flipping ropes. So they are both next levels, and I suppose, once again, from my own point of view, that's what I'm most excited about. I don't know how many times they fought, probably loads, but in my head they had two big ones. So this could be the end of the trilogy. I've just totally made that up, by the way. That was 2 + 2 = potato. But it gets me pumped and it gets me excited, and all the best to him. I love it when people bet on themselves and try and do something different, because you never want to look back in life and make any regrets. And I'm pretty sure WWE would rehire him anyway, especially if he does go out there and makes an even bigger name for himself. So I think we should all be pumped. I think we should all be excited. But more importantly, where do you want to see him? And WWE can be a feasible answer. Maybe you think that's the best place for him. But of course, there is WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor. Don't do that. That would upset me. TNA, and a bunch of other places too. So drop me a comment below and let me know. But once more, wrestlers jumping ships is just the best. It's the most exciting thing, and I want more people to go from WWE to AEW, and I want more people to go from AEW to WWE. I want to wake up and read these kind of reports all the times, because it just gets me excited. Also, please do hit that subscribe button. Again, leave a comment, click the bell, the notification bell, so you know when other videos are going live, and click that video on the screen. Give it a nice rub. Also, again, if you are into fitness supplements, which I am, it is GorillaMind.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get 10% off, and they're doing sales all of the time. I know I repeat myself constantly, but it's because I believe in them. I wouldn't be affiliated with them if I wasn't happy to sing their praises. They're the best. Then it's patreon.com/Simon316. Come and give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter and Threads. I'm doing Threads again, Simon316. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, which I'm also doing more of, and it's Simon Miller on Cameo. Come and get your personalized video message. Father's Day is soon in the UK. Happy to say happy Father's Day to your father, which actually sounds a bit weird. Otherwise, there's links down there for our merchandise. Go buy a stupid wrestling tee, and once again, you will put a smile on my face. But otherwise, go Ricochet, kick all the butt. See you soon.